Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're embarking on a journey to transform our fastest growing trash problem into what is, quite literally, a multi-million dollar treasure hunt. We're going to explore exactly how we can shift our global technology habits away from a totally destructive path and into a sustainable, circular system. Now, to truly grasp the sheer scale of the issue we're facing, consider this staggering projection. Humanity is currently on track to generate 74.7 million metric tons of electronic waste globally by 2030. Think about that for a second. We are talking about literal mountains of discarded phones, laptops, and household appliances, all just piling up at an unprecedented rate all over the world. So how do we fix it? Well, we're going to map out the solution through 6 key steps. First, we'll look at the linear crisis, then the toxic toll, the paradigm pivot, how urban mining unlocks value, extended producer responsibility, and finally, we'll break down the 4R approach. Starting off with Section 1, the linear crisis, which is essentially our take, make, dispose model. You know, our core problem really stems from this relentless global culture of newer, faster, better. We treat incredibly complex electronics as if they're just disposable commodities. And as you can see, China, the USA, and India are leading the pack globally in churning out obsolete electronics. They're generating massive kilotons of e-waste that feed directly into this linear, throwaway culture we've created. Which brings us to Section 2, the toxic toll, and the hidden dangers of all this waste. When this massive volume of waste isn't processed correctly, which unfortunately it often isn't, the results are pretty alarming. Uncontrolled dumping, open-air burning, and acid leaching from informal recycling setups basically send heavy metals directly into our environment. We're talking about lead, mercury, and arsenic leaching straight into the lithosphere and hydrosphere, literally poisoning our soil and water supplies. And sadly, those environmental toxins don't just stay in the ground. They end up entering the human body through inhalation, ingestion, or even to skin contact. This kind of exposure leads to severe oxidative stress, respiratory problems, and yes, even DNA damage. It is a profound health risk, especially for the informal workers and the children who end up living near these dumping sites. So we clearly need Section 3, the paradigm pivot, moving from a circuit to a circle. To actually fix this crisis, we absolutely have to pivot away from our current toxic trajectory. We need to completely leave behind the old, destructive take, make, dispose model and fully embrace a circular economy. It's a shift from a circuit to a circle, where the end of one device's life is directly planned to be the beginning of another's. This is what's known as the cradle-to-cradle approach. It forms a brilliant continuous loop, going from e-waste collection into formal, safe dismantling, and then feeding those materials straight back into eco-friendly product design. In this model, nothing is wasted, and materials are kept at their absolute highest value for as long as possible. Now on to Section 4, urban mining unlocks value. At the very heart of this circular system is an incredible scientific and economic concept that completely redefines what we consider trash, and that's urban mining. Instead of digging massive, destructive holes in the ground, urban mining looks to our landfills and our junk drawers as highly profitable secondary sources of critical metals. Listen to this specific data point because, honestly, it is mind-blowing. Recycling just 1 million tons of e-waste can actually recover more gold than what you'd get from mining 17 tons of raw earth. Think about the efficiency there. Urban mining isn't just an eco-friendly alternative. The concentration of precious metals sitting in our old tech makes it exponentially more efficient than traditional mining. Let's break down the actual math on just 1 million recycled cell phones. Within those phones, there are tens of thousands of dollars in copper, silver, gold, and palladium, just waiting to be reclaimed. And remember, that is just from cell phones. Imagine the sheer economic value currently locked inside every single obsolete laptop, refrigerator, and television being discarded worldwide. It's staggering. Moving on to Section 5, extended producer responsibility. Now, to make urban mining work at a truly global scale, we need solid policy frameworks. That's where extended producer responsibility, or EPR, comes in. Often referred to as the polluter pays principle, EPR basically means the companies that manufacture your tech have to pay for the infrastructure to safely recycle it. They become financially and operationally responsible for the collection and sustainable disposal of their products at the end of their life cycle. And we can actually see EPR working brilliantly in practice right now in places like South Korea. They are proving that when manufacturers are held legally and financially responsible, massive amounts of waste are successfully captured. They use a hub-and-spoke model that significantly reduces transport costs and actively feeds massive amounts of e-waste straight back into that circular economy we talked about. Finally, Section 6, the 4R approach and the actionable steps we take. So how do we systematically build this economy on both an individual and an industrial level? By following a very clear hierarchy. First, reduce overall consumption. Second, reuse and repair our gadgets to expand their lifespan. Third, properly recycle to process basic materials. And fourth, formally recover those highly valuable precious metals. This framework systematically dismantles the e-waste crisis, but it absolutely requires collaboration from governments, corporations, and consumers alike. To wrap up, I want to leave you with a slightly provocative question. Is there a gold mine currently sitting in your junk drawer? Because your old, broken phone isn't just garbage. It's actually the very first step in a sustainable circular economy. The next time you go to upgrade your device, just remember the hidden dangers, the massive economic potential, and your own power to keep that circuit going. Thanks for learning with us today.